another Inside Edition of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. I'm Kip Thompson. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Hey, tonight's show is being brought to you in part by Barrier Fence Supply out of Supply, North Carolina. They do a huge wholesale and distributing business of aluminum fencing. They're working real hard every single day to bring vinyl fencing to their lineup. We're going to hear from them a little bit later on in tonight's show when we take a quick break. Part one of tonight's show is brought to you by Barrier Fence Supply out of Supply, North Carolina. Hey, tonight we're super excited to have Brandon Riffe back with us, director, series promoter of the Dirt Car Modified Mafia Tour. Hey, man, welcome back to the show. The cool thing for you is this time last week when we were talking, you were stressed out. You were nervous as all get out. Hey, take a deep breath. Race number one is in the books. We got some laps under our belt. Let's talk about Saturday night. Great show, and we're glad to have you back on.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys for getting us back on. And yeah, you know, it was a little stressful leading up to County Line, but once we got there and got things in motion, it was a relief to see that much support show up for our first race and that much support show up for County Line's first event of the year. I know the weather was kind of cold that night, but the fans still showed up. Drivers put on a good show, and looking forward to Halifax for sure.
Well, I can tell you, night number one, I mean, for the inaugural event, just like what you said, man, the place was electric. The crowd was electric, man. The drivers were hyped. The teams were hyped. I mean, it was just a really big deal. Not only, like you said, it was the inaugural event for the Modified Mafia Tour, but it kicked off 2023 in Elm City, North Carolina, and where you could really tell drivers were up on the wheel in all classes. It was a great night of racing, but where you could tell that the excitement and the long anticipation of waiting to kick off 2023 is, man, when you guys, in conjunction with the I-95 Challenge drivers, when you guys did your autograph session, I'm telling you, the atmosphere right there in front of the grandstand, it was just totally awesome. And, man, I need to slap you a high five for doing that. And, you know, you and I talked about it several times Saturday night. I don't care where you go from here, where you race, where you don't race, whatever. Do that autograph session, man, because it brought that crowd together. You saw kids of a young age. You saw some older, elderly people that were coming down getting autographs. You saw men, you saw women, and the drivers loved it. It was absolutely electric.
Yeah, I mean, it was like we talked there in that little interview we did there on the front stretch during the session. It was like, you know, you look around and that's what makes it worth it. You know what I mean? That's everything that we do leading up to this, all the drivers do to prepare, the shows that they put on. It goes right back to that moment where we're signing autographs, we're shaking hands, we're taking pictures with the people that obviously are the reason we're there. You know what I mean? And without the fans, there's no racing, there's no racetrack. So it's like I told you in that little interview, this right here, this moment, this is what it's about. This is what we look forward to, and we're going to continue to do that all year.
Well, not only did that bring a special touch to the race, not only did that bring, you know, the level of excitement a couple of notches higher than what it was as things were beginning to unfold at County Line, but also, you know, something that I know I want to do, and I know that you'll elaborate on this as well. That was really, really an awesome part of the night. But, you know, I wanted to take time to mention, but man, we just had so much stuff going on. You cannot thank Jimmy and Brenda Holcomb and those guys for that race surface that they put down in Elm City, North Carolina, Saturday night. Man, that was a racy racetrack. It was good. And, man, those guys were flying around the County Line Raceway.
Yeah. The track prep was really good. Super fast. I think the hot lap times were in the low 15s, which is really fast for that place. It raced well all through the night. The very first heat race out of the box, you got Michael Leach and Troy Loomis side by side coming to the checker. And then right behind them for third and fourth, you got Ryan Toole and Jordan Taylor changing sliders, you know, most of the heat race. And then obviously the features were really good too. So a big shout out to Brenda and Jimmy and everybody at County Line, especially for coming on board with us so quick, for paying out a really good purse for the mods and for having the track in superior condition for our guys to race on.
Well, those guys do that week in and week out. They always have a great, great racing surface there, and hats off to them. So tonight we're talking with Brandon Riffe, who is the series director of the Dirt Car Modified Mafia Tour, and we're going to do a little bit of a recap. We're going to talk about things that went down at County Line. But while we're on the topic of County Line this past weekend, I want to go in just real quick and jump into the other classes and talk about who won those races. You and I stood there together as the night unfolded, Brandon. We were there together, and it was all about really, the first inaugural event for you guys. It was the first race of 2023. And lo and behold, if we did not have a driver who races in the Fallen Heroes Sport Compacts, the front wheel drives, out of Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina, the number 11 of Tyler Vaughn has been racing for 13 years. 13 years he's been going to the racetrack week in and week out, captures his first win ever inside the County Line Raceway. So, man, that was a special deal. You and I talked about that today, to see the emotion from that guy, because we've talked about being in victory lane before. I've talked about it on other shows. You and I talked about it today or yesterday when we were on the phone. The thing is that victory lane is a place of emotion. And yes, you may have a driver who wins multiple times throughout the year, but man, we were able to experience, you and I, watching that number 11 come off of turn 4 with that checkered flag in the air, and knowing as he approached that grandstand, the first win of his life in your inaugural event there, the first race of 2023. It doesn't get any better than that.
No, it was good to see that. His victory lane interview could have went on for 30 minutes. I didn't care. I was enjoying watching, him and his family and his kids there to witness that. And, I've been there before. I know what it's like to win your first race, and it is emotional and it's exciting. And, I've always said, once you get the first one out of the way, the rest of them come a little bit easier. They're never easy, but they come a little bit easier. So I feel like we'll see him in victory lane a lot more this year.
Well deserving. Saturday night's Fallen Heroes Sport Compact, driver of the number 11 out of Roanoke Rapids, Tyler Vaughn, on his first win in history, kicking off the 2023 season for him. Huge congratulations for him. Also, we have the U.S. INEX Legends, and man, what a race. You've got Drake Troutman. Well, you've got Drake Troutman captured the win. Jaden Bolin on the pole. And you had Hunter Bailey on the outside. Troutman actually started third. These guys are running nose to tail, side by side, 2 wide, 3 wide at some points inside County Line Raceway. And the driver out of Hyden, Pennsylvania, driving the number 19 of 316 Motorsports for Willie Ridenhour. He captured the win. And, it was good, clean racing. It's just how it ended up. Drake Troutman is one heck of a wheel man. Not only does he drive modifieds, he drives a legend car, he drives a late model, and he just did a phenomenal job, and he captured the win. And so the way things worked out, we were going to interview Drake Troutman, but Drake had to go get in the modified car because they were the next show up. So we were able to interview the car owner of 316 Motorsports. It was Willie Ridenhour. And to have the opportunity to talk about what Drake Troutman means to him and to what those guys do with their program and their driver development thing, it was actually a pretty cool deal. So congratulations goes out to the driver of the number 19. The car is called Cornbread, driven by Drake Troutman of 316 Motorsports, sponsored by Willie Ridenhour. And then we move on to the I-95 Late Model Challenge, and Michael Roush. They say over the last year that County Line Raceway has been touted as the House of Roush, and he kind of lived up to that on Saturday night because he was in another area code. Christian Thomas with a great finish. Been a long time since I've seen him run second. He had a pretty rough year last year, but I think the 06 team may be a force to be reckoned with this year. And so all of those features were great. But now let's talk about the Modified Mafia Tour. Ethan Dodson, the 00, the California kid in that Longhorn, fast time. He wins the Dash for Cash that was sponsored by Atwell Exterior Services. And then comes now the Dash for Cash, man, what a race. You got Drake Troutman. You've got who I was up in the front. It was Drake Troutman, and then you had Ethan Dodson, Chris Arnold. I mean, those guys are 3 wide coming off the turn 4 at one point. Let's talk about that dash.
Yeah, I mean the dash for cash was good, and you know it. I feel like Drake had it won. There, just the last few laps, he couldn't keep it, down low enough to keep Ethan behind him. But those are really fast race cars. I mean, you're talking about Ethan Dodson and Drake Troutman, Chris Arnold, the Taylors. I mean, just Zach Tate. I mean, in the top six, first time ever in an open motored mod. So, really good dash for cash race. And like I say, I thought Drake was going to pull it out there. He just couldn't keep it on the bottom there the last couple of laps.
I was really glad to see also in that dash to see David Taylor. To see David Taylor make it into that. And man, that was just a real cool deal. And you could just tell, man, you and I were standing on the front straightaway. We're doing the peel draw. We're introducing who's going to start where, based on the number they pull, it would be the position they would start in the heat race that would determine where they would start in the feature. And you could feel it as we walked from Dodson to Troutman to Arnold to Tate back to David Tate. All those guys that were in that mix, you could feel the momentum building, knowing that not only was this feature going to be one heck of a show, that dash was going to be one for the books. And man, those guys delivered.
Yeah, and they seem to get after it a little more when there's some money on the line for that too. So, the good thing is those six cars are obviously locked into the first rows of the feature there, and but when you put a little money on the line, they get after it for sure. And all the heat races were really good too. The first heat race, I mean, I was pumping my fists, I was screaming, I was a fan. Watching Michael Leach and Troy Loomis and Jordan Taylor and Ryan Toole there. Just a great night, man. I couldn't ask for any better.
Well, it was a great night, no doubt. And then when we go back to the feature event, Ethan Dodson, he captures the first inaugural win of the Dirt Car Modified Mafia Tour and the first race of 2023 for the County Line Raceway in a stellar fashion. The 00 out of Bakersville, California, the California kid. It was just an awesome show, and congratulations goes out to him. But before I let you maybe elaborate a little bit on the feature, let's go back to that dash. Atwell Exterior Services. Man, what a great guy. Trevor Atwell absolutely loves racing. He loves the County Line Raceway, and he stepped up really, really big for this series. I thought it was a cool deal to see his black truck out there, man, with the pace lap before the field. Hats off, two thumbs up to Trevor Atwell and Atwell Exterior Services out of Greenville, North Carolina.
Yeah. Atwell Exterior Services is a great partner that's come on board with us. I got to meet Trevor for the first time Saturday night, and just a great guy. I mean, he stood down there in the infield with us and watched a good bit of that. And that's huge when you come on board to put up some money for something like that. It makes these guys race a little harder. And Atwell's come on board this week for Halifax. He's going to do a Tough Break Award and going to give some cash out for guy has the worst luck of the night there at Halifax. So we're looking forward to partnering up with Atwell Exterior Services, the rest of the year and hopefully the years to come.
Well, I can tell you about Trevor Atwell. I met him a little over a year and a half ago, and when he's in, he's all in. And I tell you, that was a special deal. That just brought so much, man, excitement, from – again, I keep raving about the autograph session. That was so cool. And then that dash. And man, no other better way to start a race than a full wide salute, man, with the American flag and all that kind of stuff. It was just a really, really awesome night, man. And I just want to congratulate you on a tremendous show from the beginning to the end. It was just great. And I look forward to seeing you guys back on the track again this coming weekend. Halifax County Raceway, the Little Red Clay Bull Ring for the second annual Mark Batten Memorial, $2,500 to win for the Dirt Car Modified Mafia Tour. Now let's talk about the feature win before we take a break. Ethan Dodson captures that first win and parks it in Victory Lane.
Yeah, I mean, anytime Ethan shows up to the racetrack, he's going to be tough to beat. But I mean, he really didn't get the win easily. I mean, he was hounded by Drake and Chris right there for most of the race. it just Ethan had the right line, and they just couldn't get it away from him. But all he needed to do was make one little bobble, and I think Drake was going to drive right by him. It's just not enough room down there, and people like Ethan and Drake and Chris and them, they usually don't make very many mistakes. So very good race. They, like I say, they run right together a majority of the race, and congratulations to Ethan on the win. Me and Ethan's are good friends. Me and Drake's good friends. I'm good friends with all these guys. We were friends way before the modified Mafia ever come about. So big shout out to him. The whole Longhorn stable there. Michael Leach was there. Troy Loomis works for Longhorn. So Drake's in a Longhorn. So the Longhorns were pretty dominant there that Saturday night.
Yeah, when you talk about, Ethan Dodson, all he had to do was just one little slip up, and man, it could have got real interesting, because not only, is he a heck of a wheel man. You talk about Drake Troutman. He can drive the wheels off of whatever he sits in, no doubt, and he's no stranger to County Line Raceway. But right behind those two, there's a guy who knows his way around County Line Raceway, the driver, the number 99, Chris Arnold. And man, he was sitting, you could just almost see it, man. He's waiting with bated breath, just wanting you guys slip up, just one little slip up, and I'm going to take this race from you guys. But Ethan Dodson was able to hold off Drake Troutman and Chris Arnold, and man, it was a great show. Ryan Toole had a great finish too. A lot of guys who really came, and a special night there too. When you start off a series, you start off a year, you got Ryan Toole and his son, Caleb Toole, running in there together. And I talked to him, in the autograph session about how special that must be. And it really was, man. It was a great night. And so congratulations again as the Modified Mafia Tour kicks off 2023, their inaugural run at the County Line Raceway, captured by Ethan Dodson in the 00 ride. And what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. We're on tonight with Brandon Riffe, who is the series director of the Modified Mafia Tour. We're going to talk about what's coming up next as we get ready to go for week number 2 in the second annual Mark Batten Memorial at the Halifax Raceway. We'll take a quick break, hear from our friends at Barrier Fencing Supply right here on the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. Barrier Fencing Supply is a fencing wholesaler and distributor based out of Supply, North Carolina. Whether you need fencing, fencing products, fencing accessories, or various other construction materials related to your fencing needs, we have the products you are looking for at today's most competitive prices around. Ask us today about bulk pricing packages. Call 910-269-8661. Contact us by email at sales@barrierfencingproducts.com. Barrier Fencing Supply, proud supporter of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. Race fans, welcome back to part 2 of another inside edition of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. Tonight's second part of the show is brought to you in part by Raging Rooster Catering out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Tony and Bobby Jackson, they'll come to your event, whether you have 30 people or more. A great menu, and they'll really show up and show out. And anytime you're inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway, make sure to go up to the main concourse area to the left of the press box, and you'll find their food truck there. And be sure to always let them know that the Voice of Victory Lane sent you their way. All right, we're back in with Brandon Riffe, who is series director of the Modified Mafia Tour. I'm tired, man. This weekend just wore me out. But they're headed to the Halifax County Raceway this weekend for the second annual Mark Batten Memorial and their second scheduled event for the 2023 season. Okay, Brandon, I told you, you can sit back, take a deep breath. Let's gear up back up again. Here we go, week number 2.
Yeah, not as stressed this week as I have been leading up to the first one there, but still a lot of work to get done obviously in the trailer here, bagging up shirts and merchandise and stuff for this weekend, and on the phone with more sponsors and getting more people on board for the year, and it never ends, but it's well worth it. We got, I think, 20 or 21 cars already confirmed for Halifax. We just put that post up last night around 8:00. So another good field of cars coming again. We're looking to hopefully have over 30 for this event, and just excited to keep this thing rolling. Like I say, we got a bunch of good drivers coming in. It's going to be another great show at Halifax.
Well, let's give credit where credit is due too. Now, you had a great field of cars. You had a lot of great drivers this past weekend. But let's talk about how good, man, your crew looked in those shirts. Gen 3 Performance Imaging, Joseph Aaron Swan, the Sasquatch, Swanee out of Eastover, North Carolina. Man, those guys had you dressed to kill. Let's talk about your T-shirts, how people can get them this weekend. I got to get mine. I didn't get to see you Saturday night. We were too busy. We were working. We were having fun, but we were working. But everything looked really, really great.
Yeah, Gen 3 absolutely killed it with the crew shirts. We will obviously, I mean, I just can't thank Joseph enough. I don't even tell him what to do. I'm like, here, I just need these sponsors on it, and these are kind of the colors I want, and he hit it the first time. So he did this. We have a 10x10 canopy coming from him as well to sit up in the stands for merch sales, and he's doing a lot of stuff for us. He does the hard charger banner to give away. He does the fast time for us. He's going to do our checks for this weekend, and all kinds of stuff in store for Gen 3. He does really good work. He's going to wrap the trailer that we just got, so I got to get it ready for that, and obviously killed it with those shirts. We'll have pictures up on the Facebook page here soon. But yeah, really, really happy with how our crew looked, and if we're gonna act professional, we got to look professional. So we did a good job with that.
Well, he knocked it out of the park. You guys looked great, and you guys delivered an awesome show. All right, so let's dial in for Halifax County open practice on Thursday, and they're going to run a couple of features. I saw there's at least 3 features I know they're going to run on Thursday night. I know y'all are not in that. And then the big feature race is Saturday night. So Thursday night opens up with practice. Talk about what happened from there leading up to Saturday.
Yeah, so I think they're going to do an open practice Thursday for all classes. Friday will be open practice for us, and I can't remember the other class. And then I think there's a late model class.
I think that it's pure stock V8s is what I thought. I saw pure stock V8s. It looks like 602 late models, I think.
Yeah, that was the late models were 1,500 to win. I seen that. I couldn't remember exactly which late models. I didn't know if it's 602 or 604, but yeah, the late models. Yeah, 602 late models will be 1,500 to win. It looked like, and then it'll be open practice for the rest of them, and then everybody's on the slate for Saturday feature wise. Obviously the 10,000 to win late model race, and then our 2,500 to win, 225 to start. Modified race will obviously be there, so going to be a great night of racing. Even the practice nights are they're cool to come and watch and hang out and kind of just hang around people and socialize and do that kind of thing. So looking forward to Halifax. That late model race, I'm pretty pumped for it. I've been a late model guy. I've raced late models all my life, and looking forward to that. It's going to be a good event. There's going to be some really good drivers there for that too.
Yeah, well, they're expecting a huge crowd in the Steel Block Bandits. Man, there's going to be a lot of cars there and a lot of talent. And, Halifax is a unique place, so it's going to deliver a great race as well. So you don't really want to mention stuff like this, but I've already got calls today. Hey, Kip, have you heard what's going on at Halifax? What happens if it rains? Now, looking at the forecast from what I had seen, it looks like the rain is supposed to be gone by Saturday morning and a little warmer than what they anticipated. So in the event of rain on Saturday, have you guys talked? Is it something that y'all will make it up and run it on Sunday, or are there any talks about that yet?
I haven't got to talk to Michael just yet about it. We're just kind of waiting another day or so here to see how much the weather does change. I'm not against running on Sunday. Obviously it's Michael's racetrack and he's putting up the money for this. So if he wants to run Sunday, we'll stay and run. I'm all for that. But I believe we'll get it in Saturday. The weather's looking better and better as we go.
Well, hopefully that's the case. And we wish you the best of luck for another great performance. Week number 2, feature number 2 for you guys. Y'all knocked it out of the park, that county line, and we wish you all the best this coming weekend at the Halifax County Raceway. Thanks, man, for taking time to do a racing recap with us, and we look forward to seeing you again this weekend.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us again. Again, thanks to all of our partners for coming on board. Thanks for you for having us on and letting us spread the news and the recap stuff. And just looking forward to Halifax. We're ready to go. It's going to be another big event. And if you're not there, you're going to miss out.
No doubt about that. If you're not there, you will miss it. That is Brandon Riffe, director of the Dirt Car Modified Mafia Tour, back in action this coming weekend inside the Halifax County Raceway for the second annual Mark Batten Memorial. It's going to be a great show. I'm Kip Thompson, the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. Be sure to go to YouTube, like, share, and subscribe our page, and also visit us on Facebook at the Voice of Victory Lane. Second part of tonight's show has been brought to you by Raging Rooster Catering out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. And we're going to hear from them as we close out the show. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Hey, get out to a racetrack because, as we always like to say, you never know. We could be coming to a racetrack near you. You could be who we're talking about next on our show. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Have a great week, and we'll see you this weekend, Halifax County Raceway. I'm Kip Thompson for Brandon Riffe right here on the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. Good night, everybody. Tonight's show is being brought to you in part by Raging Rooster Catering out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. We cater any event, big or small, groups of 30 people or more, weddings, holiday events, or festivals. Call us today, 910-237-4565. Contact us by email at jackson.bobby@yahoo.com. Follow us on Facebook at Raging Rooster Catering. We invite you to come get you some. Raging Rooster Catering, proud supporter of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast.